So let's go a little bit into your experiences in the startup scene, because a lot of our listeners do like to learn about that, and I'm slightly selfish. I like to hear a lot about that, frankly. Um, so, uh, so tell us a little bit about what happens over the next few years as you got involved in startups, both within, the garage startup as you described it, and also the um, basically the top 500 companies that were doing startups as well internally. Tell us a bit about your experiences in that area.
When I came out of school, it was now, and out of that subsequent working at MIT, it was the late 90s. I was in Boston. It's a dot-com era. And that was a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
The blessing, of course, lots of opportunities. The curse is, well, lots of opportunities, and I didn't have a good way to filter on them. So I wound up at a small startup as a couple years old, and wasn't something I was necessarily excited about. It was just, okay, job out of school. In fact, I didn't even know I wanted to do startups. I knew I didn't want to work on Wall Street. I knew I didn't want to do big tech, which in those days was Microsoft, IBM. I
Hmm.
knew I didn't want to do consulting. So this was kind of the default option. And I joined, and I was very lucky. I had a really wonderful manager there and began to learn skills that I hadn't learned in school. Primarily, those were programming skills, because, of course, for those of us in tech, a lot of schools teach computer science, which is not quite the same as software engineering.
Mm.
And for those who haven't done it, think of it this way. When you come out of, let's say, mechanical engineering program, and so you learned, okay, I understand how an engine works. I understand the basic mechanics, what a lathe is. I understand force multiplication. But would you actually take someone who's just out of school and say, go design the next car? Right? Because building a car, yes, it's mechanical, but it's a whole scale that you really haven't focused on. You just know some of the fundamentals. And in software, the same is true. But back in the 90s, there were so few people that had any level of experience because the field was just blowing up. It was a lot of kind of new people just leading other new people, and no one really having a lot of deep experience as a practitioner. So I got lucky. I did find someone who had been doing it for a while. I learned a lot of great skills from my manager and from some other folks. And the moment that really got interesting is that company, the founders have falling out, which turns out surprisingly common. I've seen it at
Mm.
many, many companies. And they split in two. So the CTO called me to his office one day and said, this might be a surprise or maybe not, but I'm leaving. Love for you to come with me. I've already got these folks coming with me. And the other founder said, okay, he's leaving. We'd love for you to stay. I said, all right, I guess I have to make a decision. Because until this point, I had never even thought about my career. It's just, I'm here. It's okay. I code. It's nice. I get money. And I started to think, what do I need to do? Like, what makes this interesting? How do I pick between the two? And then I realized I had more than two choices. This was still the dot-com era. This is now 99. And so I started to think about how do I evaluate what's important, and then wound up joining another startup that I felt was the right fit for me. Now, this was closer to the garage level startup. It was 5 MIT students. They were literally in someone's living room when I met them. And they had some early code. But of course, at this time, you can say, we're from MIT, please give us money. And a VC had given them a few $1,000,000. So now by age 26, 27, I was a senior experienced person. And so I joined to start leading the team. And we grew that company. We sold it despite the dot-com crash and everything falling apart. Had a successful exit in the fall of 2000. And that put me on the path to doing lots of different startups. And I realized this is what I love to do.